Pablo Italian's new press aide here. Sean Regan, did he make it? He was here earlier. Thank you, Sean Regan. Thank you, Pablo Italian, for even thinking about coming to our bash, even though you didn't come. Thinking about it got her 10 points, by the way. Is William King here? William King, did he make it? All right, let me just give you a little bit on this guy. I don't know who he is. He came to last year's bash. He's been anonymously sending us checks for 8 years. Every 3 or 4 months, I go to the post office at the town of North Andover, and there's a check for sometimes $25, sometimes $150, sometimes $8. But it always comes with a note. And the note says, I appreciate what you're doing, trying to fight for the First Amendment. It seems like you're alone. This is to let you know that you're not. So we give a round of applause for William King, Salem, New Hampshire. You might not be here, but it's people like that that help, that make us do what we do. Christine Morabito has been a rock for me in the last 4 years. I don't know that I would have made it through 2011 without her. I want to emphasize that again. I don't think I would have made it through 2011 without Christine Morabito. Because anybody who knows what was going on in 2011, and she basically nursed my mental health back to almost being normal, like something. Thank you, Christine Morabito. I love you. Thank you. And then we've got all the food sponsors. You know, Keith Budden from the Daily Dose Cafe donated the food. Coffee King donated the coffee. The Tomasellis donated the dinner. The programs were donated by Bob Westcott of Poppy Labs, who, by the way, we met each other and he wrote me a really mean letter one day saying what a complete jerk I was, and I printed every word of it. Bob, you here? Where's Bob Westcott? Bob Westcott, thank you for being here. Our advertisers, our sponsors, but before I actually get into this next award, I want to thank one more person if I could have your attention.
In the middle. Thank you so much.
I can't even blame D'Agostino for that. Can I have your attention up back there for a second, please? Thank you. I'm going to be writing a book about my dad's case, and as I've been going through some of the material, and some of it's kind of tough because we have to go through the autopsy and the trial footage and all that stuff. Most people don't know this, and I invited her here because I wanted everyone to know this. My dad was murdered on March 16th of 1990. The people who killed him signed a confession, admitted what they did, and went on trial October 1st, 1990. On October 12th, 1990, because of a judge's faulty instruction, they walked out of court singing and dancing, a free man and woman, the two people who murdered my dad. About 2 weeks later, I was evicted from my apartment and fired from my job for not showing up. Because I had taken time to go to my dad's funeral, and the company that I worked for, I won't say which Fidelity House it was, but the company that I worked for thought that taking time out for your dad's murder trial wasn't really good enough to take time off. So I was homeless, and I was jobless, and I was fatherless, and I wasn't sure what to do next. I wasn't even sure how to come up with what to do next. And so I, just on a whim, jumped on a bus to Lowell and went to the student union to see if any kids living in dorms needed roommates. And if I could pass myself off, I was 22 years old, to pass myself off as a student, thinking maybe I can get a job and try and get myself back on my feet. I, just by happenstance, happened to get the phone number of a young girl named Paula Ming. Paula's still here, Paula Ming. Don't tell me she left, really. She's here, Paula. Stand up, Paula. I want everyone to see who you are. Thank you. Paula Ming answered the phone. She showed me the apartment. I said, this apartment looks like an earthquake hit it. She said, that's from the person you're replacing. I applied, she accepted. I was honest up front, I've got no job, I've got no money. So she was a student at UMass Lowell, she's in her last year, and she tricked the people who worked in the cafeteria into hiring me, telling them that I was a student at the school. So she gave me a place to live, didn't charge me for the first couple of months. She got me a job so I could get back on my feet and I could start paying a little bit of rent on my own. And of course I was living in Lowell where the man who murdered my father was also living in a free man. That was in October. The following May, my dad's name was being etched on the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. But I hadn't really made enough money to fly to New York City, get a hotel, figure out how I was going to go to all these services. So I called a friend of mine in New York who said he had friends in D.C. and we started working a bunch of stuff out. And Paula said, "Why don't I just drive you?" And she did. Remember that? Remember that long drive? I had to cry the whole way. Well, I've been a terrible friend since then. I'm a pretty terrible friend to begin with. So, you know, you might like my writing, you might like my radio station, but don't be my friend because I'm not a good friend. Over the years, she's invited me to baseball games. They've got season tickets to the Bruins. She's always inviting me to her kids' birthday parties, and of course the answer is I'm on deadline, I got a radio show, I can't do it, I gotta run a bash, I don't know what I'm doing, and I never get a chance to go to any of her stuff. And yet, when I sent her an email a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, would you like to come to my bash? I know I'm a bad friend, I don't go to any of your stuff." Without even thinking about it, she said, "Of course, why wouldn't I want to come?" That's the spirit that makes the Valley Patriot what it is. It's the people that I've lived with and that I've spent time with throughout my life that have shown me the kindness and the understanding that I needed. And I've tried to pass that along. And although there are many other people to thank, and there's lots of people on the BASH committee and our advertisers and the people who are here and the sponsors, before we get to all of that, before we get to putting a paper together or doing a radio show or asking people for a sponsorship, it goes all the way back to the foundation of, at my lowest point in life, having somebody reach down and pull me up. So can we have a really large round of applause for Paula, May, Todd, and her husband Dave. There are so many other people to thank for Celdridge, Jessica Finicaro, but instead of standing up here and thanking everybody, I want to get to our Lifetime Achievement Award, and I know that Michelle McPhee's trying to leave, so we can't let her do that. We need to bring her up.